Yeah, I think, over the past 3 hours today, there's definitely no shortage of red flags when you're looking for reasons to climb a wall of worry, as we're all alluding to tensions out of Russia, the China slowdown, emerging market withdrawals, perhaps even tapering, uncertainty of regulations, even Obamacare coming up. So that will still hold true. Two quick things. I think no one would be surprised if political tensions out of Ukraine led to economic stability as we get closer to imposing sanctions against Russia. And number two, regarding China, the wave of Chinese defaults on their bonds that may occur and their shadow banking system. In order to shrink their system, we need to provide more loans to non-government institutions. That may not be a bad thing. Let's flush out some of the toxins in the global economy. Let's address the problem in China of being lacking a consumer-driven economy. Right now, U.S. consumes, China produces. Yeah. We need China Heather, to consume and U.S. to produce, yes.
I think for a hard landing, this is too early. This is one release of data which is weak. We had the trade data before, which was, at least in terms of imports, was quite strong. I think a further gradual slowdown of the Chinese economy is more reflected in this data than a hard landing. And at what degree would they intervene? And I think we heard the Chinese officials saying that as soon as employment is affected, or maybe income growth, the Chinese authorities would intervene. The question is, at what stage or at what level of growth would employment really be affected? So far, despite the slowdown, we have not seen any, say, protests, any reaction of the labor market. As soon as the labor market does slow down and that Chinese dream of moving from the countryside and joining the urban middle classes, as soon as that Chinese dream is affected, I think we would see intervention from the authorities.
We're forecasting about a 10% upside return for the year. Not really as strong as what we've seen over the last couple of years, really more closer to an average return. But we think that we're going to see leadership change pretty dramatically within the S&P 500. So as you mentioned, the economy is looking like it's moving to some more solid footing. Granted, it's clouded, no pun intended, a little bit by the weather. But I think that once we get to a point where we do get a better sort of sustained sense that the economy is an improving trajectory, investors have no better place to be than stocks, in our opinion. And U.S. stocks, in particular the S&P 500, we think offers a pretty good proxy for the global economy rather than just the U.S. economy. I think that a lot of the stocks that have exposure to emerging markets are pricing in a lot of pain. So valuations may adequately reflect a lot of the risks that we're seeing in other parts of the world.